Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moonride. This is Dave Johnson. I am channeling the Man in the Moon today. If you would like a free tarot card reading by the amazing Jacinta, just put a little heart, make a comment, and we'll pick one of you for the free reading. So we're going to take a look today. It is a political reading about Harris and Trump. We're going to take a look just at what the issues are. So not necessarily seeing who's going to win or lose. I have a very good feeling about Harris. I'm glad to see the new energy here. But I want to see what issues come up first for Harris and then for Trump, and we'll try to decide whether it's positive or negative for them. So let's start with Harris. Okay, so Spirit, show me the issues. It's interesting. There's like a sun, and she kind of brings it closer. It's great. Certainly doesn't seem negative. I mean, she's smiling. She seems to really captured something. It just has a feeling of, capturing the light or the gestalt of it. So what's going to come up for her? Again, I'm not seeing so many issues. This seems like just like the sun's rising for her. I'm seeing the curve of the earth. It just this first impression is that she just needs to ride this wave of optimism and change. It feels very much like a divine feminine sort of feeling. I see Trump just way, way, way off in the distance there, kind of, crying like a baby. So, Spirit, is there any problems that are going to show up for Harris? She seems to think they're pretty small, but then there's a little bit of a bigger one. And she's kind of going, look, he tried the race thing. He tried the, well, I'm not a real black person thing. That did not go over well. So, really, what's Trump got? Not much. Anything else? Well, what stands against her is really just anger and resentment. And, let's say it's fair, the anger and resentment of some people in society who are, in the middle of America, not a minority, some of that is legit. I don't think it's fair that they target certain people, but, that disenfranchisement, that disconnection, it is real, right? Kamala has to show the regular people, and this might be, working class people barely employed who are, maybe just in the middle of the country. And, she has to show them that she will be able to make their lives better. That will be very helpful for her. I had half my student loan paid off, as it should have been. That was part of the plan. But at least Biden executed on it, unlike the Trump administration, which would not have done that. So for me, the person who went to school is a very tangible benefit. There's a lot of money that I saved. Whereas for these people who didn't go to school, what's the benefit? And I think one benefit is she's taking a bit of a harder line on relationships with Israel, for example, that the regular person is spending their tax money to continue this war in the Middle East. And at this point, I'm not blaming any party for that war. They're good and bad people on both sides of that war. I'm really am pointing out that for the average American, how are our taxes that are paid into that fight benefiting us? And it does matter. It is making them angry that they have to pay for something that in no way benefits them. She needs to make a connection between the politics and real benefits. It is going to be tough. It's hard to show people that going after big spenders on taxes would benefit them, and they cannot see that connection. It's not easy to see, right? But ideally, she'd be able to do that, right? She'd move in, and the IRS would collect on billionaires, right? But that's going to take a while for them to see. So one thing that seems like it's an issue that would benefit her is just cut through all this junk. You know, how many years have we waited for justice to arrive for Trump and all of these people? Just the ridiculous amount of time that it has taken. I see her ability as a prosecutor to cut through this stuff to get to the point, and not just for Trump, but anyone, all of these sort of elites who've been able to get outside the system and work it over. Hmm. It'd be helpful if she had some kind of a plan to reduce crime and do something about the homeless, and a real practical, realistic plan that she could present to show people how that problem can be changed. It might be helpful if she showed a way to improve schools, because you know, these people have kids in schools and the schools aren't doing particularly well, right? But I gotta say, all in all, I feel really optimistic about her candidacy. It just seems to bring more life and energy to this time. It's almost like we're living in a time of shadows, and here comes a bright sun. She's smart. I see her sort of with the sword, and it's just sharp, cuts through to the truth. I think she's a pretty smart person, and possibilities are opening up for people. That's extremely important, that people see that they have a future, that they can change the things that are broken. It's extremely important. The more she's able to show this, not just happy clappy, we're great, we're just, it has to be a little bit more, this is how I'm going to solve these problems for everyone, and not just one set of people living in a particular place, but everyone. It will be helpful if she's not elitist, if she appears to be a person of the people. Trump has sort of collected that force for himself somehow. His is by way of blaming others, saying it's all their fault, and that way you can be united in your hatred, just as happens in any junior high school. She's got to work a little bit harder to show that there's a better way, that there are real solutions to these problems. Let's take a look at Trump. Yeah, it's like a battle scene. It's, frankly, it's like January 6th, one fight after another fight after another fight. There's just a horizon, and there's so many things going on for Trump right now. It's a real reversal. He's got to cover for JD Vance, which is a disaster. He's got to decide whether to replace him or not. Both those situations are disasters. He's got some hearings coming up. Chutkan's going to start chugging away again. Of course, the Supreme Court has slowed down that trial, but it will come up. And I think Chutkan is going to bring some things up that he's going to have to defend. So one thing is, in that case where they're trying to give him immunity, it's totally outrageous. But now there'll be hearings about, is this immune? Is that immune? Is this immune? And I think Chutkan's going to go there and really expose some of the details of what Trump actually did, as a way to counter the Supreme Court. Like, okay, let's just show everybody what Trump did. And that will have some, again, maybe it won't change so many right-wing minds, but it will galvanize the left to say, hey, we really can pursue him. He really, we're not done with this case yet. It's not hopeless. That matters a lot. That it's not a hopeless case. So just endless problems here. So here's a third problem, and that is out in the sort of way in the distance. And, Putin isn't making Trump look so good. I feel like this war is not going to go well for Putin. Ukrainians seem to be, at the very least, holding their own and maybe gaining some ground. But what's more important is how awful Putin looks, how cruel he looks, how destructive he looks. That is a reflection on Trump because Trump never stopped him, never said anything. So there will be some media focus on Putin and what goes on in his world. There seems to be some kind of shakeup. When I'm looking at the sort of Putin world, if you imagine like a circle, some chunk of the circle is lost. And I don't know if this means he's lost. Well, it does seem like something's lost in the war. Like there's some part of Ukraine that he has not succeeded in taking over. Maybe that portion is lost. It seems to be actually on the eastern side that something, it looks like our the weapons we've given to Ukraine are effective, and it they are effective actually in the east of Ukraine. This is going to make a difference. Again, it's like kind of going to motivate us with some success. That is, with Ukraine's success, it will motivate us to sort of continue to support. Everybody likes the momentum of winning, and there's certainly Putin's not winning. He's facing a lot of difficulty where he is. I see people gathering at the gates of the Kremlin. I'm not sure if Kremlin has gates, but people are at the gates of this sort of Putin's palaces. And first, it's just a couple of people, but now it seems like more people. And it seems like the army is, at least the soldiers, are not supporting Putin right now. They seem pretty pissed. They don't have enough to eat. This is a bigger issue on the global stage than we might expect for Trump. That is, he's going to be called to maybe justify it. He'll be asked questions about it. And, he's only got bluster. People are starting to get more confident. And you notice those, awesome, Black reporters. I think they were all women, asked real questions. It wasn't a softball interview. As he moves into this election, there are people who are going to ask real questions, and he'll have to do what he does most of the time. He doesn't know anything. Trump has to just say, you're asking a mean question, like a third grader. That has worked in the past, but it's almost like the reporters have gotten smarter and a little bit more assertive. They perhaps know that they'll be in trouble if Trump wins, so they're really asking difficult questions. They're a bit more fearless. It's a bit like they're modeling Kamala Harris. Yeah, I keep seeing explosions, and these seem to be just fights that are happening. Yeah, I think Putin might try something really, really nasty, and Trump will be kind of asked about that and to some degree held responsible because Trump did nothing to slow Putin down. But I really think too, there are very powerful people who are now against Trump. It even seems like you know conservatives with some integrity have had enough of him. They're not happy about the way that he's performing, and even on a moral level, they're starting to have some qualms about supporting him. One of the Black women who was a reporter asking questions, she's from Fox and she's a crazy conservative Fox propagandist. She gasped when Trump spoke. And it's a little bit like, how am I going to go home and face my family as he says things about Black people? And, you know, they really are. It is starting to bother them how awful he is. even up to the top of Fox News, they're a little, they're not happy with the ethics. There's some ethical issues there, but I also just don't like the way that it looks. It just looks really, really bad. And it's a bad reflection on conservative news that they haven't really pointed this out. Even for business people, Trump is not a, he's not a winner. He's not going to benefit them. So I'm getting even up top places where, people are really pulling the strings. Some of them are pulling against Trump now that were not before. The change that they wanted, and they got their tax breaks. They even got the Supreme Court to mess around with things so that they will no longer, really be stopped from polluting. The those 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 people kind of got already what they wanted. Do they want 4 years of chaos a la Trump? No. It would be better to have a Democrat that they could blame all the problems on, right? So yeah, don't be surprised if the people that really shift this election are the same powerful people that got Trump elected. I don't think that's 100%. But there are some people who are not speaking in powerful places that do not want Trump to get elected. Keep in mind, I've always said that it is the Republicans who would end Trump. They actually were significant in ending Trump's bid for, the election denial. You know, it was the Republicans that helped kick him out of the Senate. Really did move him out of there. That did include Republicans, even if they didn't make that public. They were significant in making sure that he didn't win. Trump is in very bad position right now. I don't see very many issues that he can cling to. They have tried the border issue for many, many years. That seems a bit stale. And there are some people who might keep cheering that on. But it's just not a very attractive issue right now. America is down to 3% unemployment. What are they going to do without foreign workers? Who's going to pick the fruit? And it just seems like a tired issue. Trump is very, very unhappy right now. He is skulking and blaming people. He's blaming Vance. And hey, for people who work with him, just desserts, you get to work with him. And that is sort of your karmic punishment. I'm feeling really good about Harris. I would say to her, just keep going forward with the optimism and the dynamism and the, not being so much part of the elite Democrats. It has to be more assertive than that, not just getting along with everybody in a very tepid sort of way. All right. Thanks so much for watching.